Good Thursday morning, and I'm sorry if I'm just a little bit late this morning. Constance and I just returned from kind of a rare Thursday shopping thing. Who knows, it may be a regular thing from now on. But anyway, I got my walk in before we went and uh, got back, took our shopping. Uh, as a matter of fact, we now have enough toilet paper to get us through the general strike that's coming up on November 25th through December 2nd. So we're gonna take that serious and not buy stuff or patronize whatever. General strikes are used sometimes when the people in a country feel that they have very little else to do to show their displeasure with the way things are going. And a good old-fashioned general strike usually anyway. We're gonna lay low. We're gonna burn candles. We're gonna get cozy. Uh, we're loaded up on our canned chili and things like that. So we're gonna try to make a dent in the economy during that time, uh, November 25th to December 2nd. Anyway, so there's one thing we have: toilet tissue. So anyway, I've been talking lately, and Constance and I have been talking lately, and Monday night class concerned the union of opposites between the everything as laid out in a ceremonial way in the hexagram ritual and the greater hexagram rituals and magical ritual of Aleister Crowley, the star sapphire. So we've been talking a lot about equating every idea against its opposite until we realize there is no opposites. Okay, and there is there's a Crowley ritual. Well, it's a ritual. Well, it describes in a couple places some practices that could be considered rituals. It's called Liber Yod, Y-O-D. Now, the old name for it was Vesta, but there's a new Liber Vesta, which talks about AA robes and things like that. But this is Liber Yod. And that Yod is, in a sense, the central germ of creation, of the Hebrew alphabet. All the other letters come out of Yod. Okay, Yod is a flame, and you blow on the flame, and it creates all the other Hebrew letters. But anyway, it's called Liber Yod, and the number is 831, and I don't recall right now exactly why. Somebody will tell me. But it gives various methods. He actually says this book, formerly called Vesta, it's referred to the path of Virgo on the Tree of Life. This is the book of drawing all to a point. Just like that yod is a yacht, jot. Hereon are described three methods whereby the consciousness of the many may be melded into that of the one. Now, if you were kind of paying attention when we talked about the star sapphire and Liber Ararita, they sort of do that too, okay? in their own way. But these are methods. And a couple of them are meditative methods. And if you lay on your back and picture this, and in other words, you funnel everything to a point, uh, and take all the manys in the world, all the manys in your reality, all the ideas of that are part of other ideas, and you draw them all into a single point. And the idea being, once they're all to the single point, then you see how they are universally a wonderful divine nothing. So it'd be like going up the tree of life from 10 to 1, and then that 10 to 1 bursts into the negativity out of which it all comes. People criticize Buddhism by saying, "Oh, you try to achieve nothingness." Yeah, well, that nothing is a big something, okay? And that's what we're shooting for, mystically speaking, anyway. So I'm going to read the first method. And the first method gets you into the idea of banishing absolutely everything. You know, we banish the elements with the pentagram ritual and banish the planetary spheres with the hexagram ritual. And but here they take a whole tree of life. And from Malkuth to Kether, banish it. Now he's assuming you're already familiar with the tree of life and the wondrous properties of all the Sephiroth and paths. Okay, see, he's assuming that you're a magician of kind of that level, that the tree of life is nothing new to you. As a matter of fact, you're really familiar with it. Yeah, there's gods. There's a god name for every Sephiroth. There are archangels and angels associated with it, everything. You know the neighborhood, okay? You're comfortable with the neighborhood. And but for this ritual, you're going to take that comfortable neighborhood and say, I have to even overcome this. I have to transcend this. And so I'm going to read you the first method. Let a magical circle be constructed within an upright Tao drawn upon the ground. Now, let this Tao be devised into 10 squares. And the illustration is like that. Okay. Now, an upright Tao would be looking at it that way, because that 10th one is the bottom. This time he says it's upright. Oh, see that X? That would be Malkuth at the very bottom, and along the sides. Okay, all the Sephiroth, not 8, 9, 7, all the way to 1 are distributed along those lines. So each square is a Sephiroth. Okay, instead of drawing a tree of life in your circle, you draw a tree of life in the form of this upright Tao. Okay, 0. Let a magic circle be constructed, and within it an upright Tao drawn upon the ground. Let this Tao be divided into 10 squares. Let the magician be armed with a sword of art. Now, lots of stuff uses wands for one purpose, but swords for another. Swords are particularly used for banishing and threatening. Okay, there's other things you can use it for. Here, we want a sword. We don't want a cup, don't want a wand, don't want a disc. We want a sword. Let him wear the black robe of a neophyte. Let a single flame of camphor burn at the top of the Tau, and let there be no other light or ornament. Now, when he says top of the Tau, I'm thinking he means that one. The top. So when he meant upright Tau, I'm not sure he's not talking about the circle as we usually see it laid out in the Tau as we usually see it. But that's an ambiguity, I guess. We can all debate if we want. But let a single flame of camphor burn at the top of the Tau, and let there be no other light or ornament. So put away all your tchotchkes and other things. That's the light. Let him open the temple as in 963. Okay, that's the Liber Pyramidos opening, which is quite a dance, actually. Okay, or other convenient manner. So just open your temple. Standing at the appropriate quarters at the edge of the circle, let him banish the 5 elements by the appropriate rituals. So you're outside of that, standing at the edge of the circle there. Then standing at the edge of the circle, let him banish 7 planets by the appropriate rituals. Let him face the actual position of each planet in the heavens at the time of his working. Now, at the time he wrote this, that would be a pretty tall demand, okay? But nowadays, if a magician can put the sword in one hand and his computer in another, he can find the planets. He literally can find the planets, okay? And if you want to take it that far, okay? Okay. Number 7, let him further banish the 12 signs of the zodiac by appropriate rituals, each facing each sign in turn. Okay. Again, you could use this, or your familiarity with the zodiacal positionings of the day. Let him at each of these 24 banishings make 3 circumambulations widdershins with the sign of Horus and Harpocrates as in the east as he passes it. Now that's a classic Golden Dawn technique of whipping up the force. Only this time it's banishing direction, and as you pass the east, as you're walking around the circle, you project and bring back. So you've done that 3 times after all these banishings. Now, for our great comfort, he adds sort of in a footnote, in circumstances where this is inappropriate, let him be armed with a wand and a lamp instead of as in the text. In other words, if you can't do all of this shit, but you want to do this ritual, use what you got. Do what you need to do. Okay? If you don't have a black robe, wear a sweatshirt. Yeah. In circumstances where all of this is inappropriate, just grab your wand even and a lamp. Okay. But let's say we're following everything just the way he says. Let him advance to the square of Malkuth. And that's that one I've got as X'd out there. And form a ritual of banishing of Malkuth. But here let him not leave the square to circumambulate the circle. In other words, once you step on that square, stay there until you step on the next square. But use the formula of the God form Harpocrates. Okay, let him advance to square of Malkuth on the Tau and perform a ritual of banishing of Malkuth. Now, you can make up your own ritual if you don't have a ready-made off-the-shelf banishing of a Sephiroth. But whatever you do there, banish it and end with the sign of Harpocrates. Let him advance in turn the squares of Yesod, Hod, Netzach, Tifereth, Geburah, Chesed, and banish each by appropriate rituals. And let him know that such rituals include the pronunciation of the appropriate names of God backwards, and also a curse against the Sephirah in respect of all that which it is, for that which distinguishes and separates it from Kether. Okay. I banish and curse thee, Malkuth. Number one, because you're not Kether. Well, maybe you are after a different manner. But Yesod, you're not Kether. Bad Yesod. Okay. Advancing to the squares of Bina, that's number 3 across the abyss, and Hokmah, number 2 across the abyss. Advancing to the squares of Bina and Hokmah in turn, let him banish these also. And for that by now, in awe and trembling, shall have taken hold upon him. If you're taking this seriously, that's pretty scary shit. You said all those God names backwards. Okay. Let him banish these by a supreme ritual of inestimable puissance. And let him be aware exceedingly, lest he will falter or his courage fail. So you got to really kind of whip up some pretty serious, hey, I'm even against the Great Mother. I'm even against the All-Father. I'm cursing Babylon. I'm cursing the beast. Okay. Finally, let him finally, let him, advancing to the square of Kether, banish also by what means he may. At the end whereof let him set his foot upon that camphor light, extinguishing it. And as he falleth, let him fall within the circle. As a matter of fact, ideally, you've whipped yourself up into a state of where by the time you've reached banishing everything and took it serious enough to that's what you've just done, that you kind of fall unconscious and extinguish the light. Okay, now what would be the bare bones of a curse? Okay, for each of these, and I've sort of come up with this. If I'm going to hold it, if you want to start taking a screen capture of what I've off the cuff a number of years ago came up with very simple things because, as you know, I'm a simple man. The god name for number 10 or Malkuth is Adonai Melech. And so that backwards would be Ianoda, Kelelem. Wow, that's a pretty cool sounding. Ianoda Kelelem. I curse thee, Malkuth, kingdom of shells, prison of matter. Now the god name for Yesod, or number 9, is Shaddai El-Kai. Yadash la Aich. I curse thee, Yesod, false foundation of illusion. The god name for number 8 is Elohim Tsabaoth. Mihole Thaobats. I curse thee, Hod, splendorous confusion of tongues. Yesod, or excuse me, Netzach, Yehovah Tsabaoth. Hev Heye Thaobats. I curse thee, Netzach, vainglorious, victory signifying nothing. Number 6 is Eloah Vadath. I curse thee, Tifereth, ungrateful son who obscures the face of the Father. Geburah, Elohim, oh, excuse me, yeah, Elohim Gibor would be Mihil Robig. I curse thee, Geburah, strength without hands to smite. And for Hesed, they're number 4, which is God named simply El. La. I curse thee, Hesed, mercy that would aid and abet evil. And for Bina is Yehovah Elohim. So it'd be Hey Vaheya Mi Hele. I curse thee, Bina. What understanding, mother? Number 2, Hokmah Yehovah. Hey Vaheya. I curse thee, Hokmah, demon, father of duality. And Eheya is for Kether. Hey, hey, hey. That one scared me. I curse thee, Kether, rapist of the pure nothingness, wrong of the beginning. And those were just 10 of my ideas for following out that part of the instructions for Liber Yod. But anyway, I thought that would be a good kickoff to our approach to Samhain and this time of year. Anyway, that's it. I leave you with that blessing. I leave with you with that blessing. Just know that as long as we're thinking of blessings and curses, we're not thinking big enough. Until tomorrow, continue to be good to yourself and be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will.